Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ. There was once upon a time when the Southeastern Conference wasn't really known for overall quarterback depth. That certainly changed in the last decade. Our Brady Quinn giving us his top 5 quarterbacks in the SEC this year. And it all starts with Carson Beck down in Athens, Georgia. Let's bring in our quarterback to talk about his top 5 SEC schools, or players, I should say, heading into the 24 campaign. And let's talk about Carson Beck, Brady, a guy that basically completes 7 out of every 10 passes last year.
And he, to me, is not only #1 in the SEC, but I think he will make a case for being the #1 quarterback in the 2025 draft class. He's got all the measurables. In his first year starting, only 1 loss in the SEC championship game. And when you look at his tape and you look at his game, he has everything that they're looking for at the next level in the NFL. He can play from the pocket. He's got a very strong arm. He's accurate. He throws with timing and anticipation. And he's got the touch as well. But the thing that kind of stands out the most to me is he's a better athlete than people give him credit. When he needs to take off and run, he can. He's capable of doing that. And he's just, to me, overall, the best, most probably NFL ready when it's all said and done in this quarterback class, not just in the SEC, but I think when it's all said and done in college football after this season.
Now, Brady, this next quarterback has had such an interesting career up until this point, Jalen Milroe, because last season there was a point in the beginning of Alabama's season where he was benched, and there was a lot of questions about, you know, what they're going to do at quarterback. Fast forward, he leads his team to an SEC championship, and now he has to adapt to a new system, a new head coach in Kalen DeBoer. Are you expecting an adjustment period there for Jalen Milroe, or is he going to come out strong here? He's your #2 quarterback.
I think he's going to come out strong in part because he is the best dual threat quarterback in college football, in my opinion. Just a tremendous athlete who's got the game-breaking type speed when he takes off and run. But you saw flashes, too, of what he's capable of doing from the pocket. And Kalen DeBoer is very well known for being able to take someone like Michael Penix, who played good football during his time at IU, but literally take him to Washington and make him a Heisman contender, help him be able to lead a team to a national championship bid. So that's what I'm expecting out of Jalen Milroe within a Kalen DeBoer offense. And so he'll have every opportunity to showcase his talents, his growth and development as a quarterback in that system. You know, could there be a learning curve? Of course. You don't have a ton of time to waste if you're Alabama, given their schedule. But to me, he's one of those quarterbacks that I think when you look at that 2025 draft class, he could probably make the biggest jump of any of these quarterbacks because of what we already know about him as an athlete, but I think what he's also capable of as a quarterback from the pocket if he continues to develop.
We've seen highlights, and we're reminded here of some of the upside for Jalen Milroe. And again, a new head coach will be on the sidelines for both he and the Crimson Tide. Taking a look at the odds to win the Heisman Trophy, Quinn Ewers is there at 10-1, Brady. And we talk about adjustment periods, a different type for Quinn because he and his teammates going into a new league. But again, remind us of the scouting report for him.
I mean, he's got incredible arm talent. Everyone knows that. He can make throws off balance, off angle. It doesn't matter. He's got that sort of ability. He's got a strong enough arm, obviously, to stretch the field vertically. And I think he's matured a ton when you look at him and some of those intangibles as a leader. That's the thing that stood out the most to me. And I think if there's one thing you're still waiting on, it's for that breakout year. You know, last year was the year as far as the team goes. They get the Big 12 championship. They go to the college football playoff. That was a step. The next step for him is obviously trying to take this team to a national championship. Easier said than done with a 12-team playoff and in a new conference like the SEC. But I think the other thing you have to look at is for him to explode and really come out and produce and be consistent like we've seen from some other quarterbacks, too, in their final year before they move on to the NFL. I think for him, too, one key is staying healthy. He's missed some time over the past 2 seasons in Austin. So not having to miss 2 or 3 games here and there with nagging injuries that go along with it, I think would be a big key in him making a case for potentially being that #1 quarterback in that 2025 draft class, but being one of the best quarterbacks winning the Heisman Trophy in college football.
Man, those Heisman odds, the headshot there just reminded me how iconic that mullet is that he had. Maybe he should bring it back. Brady, we were just talking with Dennis and Pate about the high expectations for Ole Miss and this expanded CFP. So, of course, that means high expectations for Jackson Dart as well, naturally. But what makes him a top 5 quarterback in the SEC to you?
He can do it all. I mean, Jackson Dart may be the most talented of all these quarterbacks when you look at the entirety of his skill set. I mean, he's an accurate passer. He runs Lane Kiffin and Charlie Weiss Jr. system to a T, as good as anyone could ask to. He can impact the game with his legs as well. So he really is the total package when you look at what he's capable of doing within this Ole Miss system. The question becomes, can he take this program to new heights? It's something we really haven't seen a ton through Ole Miss throughout the history of this program, but everyone's extremely high on this team this year. I like to think that with Alabama in transition, with a new head coach, some new additions to the league, all the transition, everyone else, Jayden Daniels moves on from LSU to the NFL. With all those differences, there's a lot of continuity there in Oxford, Mississippi. And Jackson Dart is the type of quarterback that I think with the way their schedule works out, they get a really slow start. He's going to be in the Heisman race, maybe even the leader after the first 4 or 5 weeks with their schedule. But think about this. They get Georgia and Kentucky at home. They have byes before Oklahoma and Florida. No Bama, no Texas. So again, going back to those 4 easy ones, when you chalk it up, Jackson Dart can put himself in position not only to get Ole Miss to a potential college football playoff bid, maybe win the conference, but also for the Heisman Trophy.
Schedule lays out well for the team and for Jackson Dart. And then rounding out your top 5, Brady, is Brady Cook out of Mizzou, a guy that really came to light and accounted for, what, nearly 30 total touchdowns for his team last year.
Yeah, he's really progressed over his time at Mizzou. I think when you look at Sue, he's a good decision maker. He's accurate with the football. Another guy who can be a part of the run game with the quarterback design runs or even taking off on pass plays. And it's just the improvement year after year after year, kind of gradually. And I think he's in for a big year anytime you have the opportunity to throw to Luther Burden III, who is the best wide receiver and the most dynamic wide receiver in college football this year. So that's another huge piece to him being up there as one of the rankings, is what he has around him, who he's throwing to. So Brady Cook should very much be in the mix depending on how Mizzou shapes up this year. But production-wise, he's up there with the best of them in the SEC.
So, Brady, we've gone through your top 5, and we know there's a ton of talent, especially at the quarterback position in the SEC. But what about your honorable mentions? You have a few guys you want to talk about.
Yeah, Connor Wigman at Texas A&M, I think, is going to be in for a big year. I think he'll be ready to explode when you look at his skill set and what he's capable of doing. So he's one of those guys I'd throw into the mix. I'm really curious to see what Brock Vandergrift does at Kentucky. I was really high on him coming out as a high school prospect to the college ranks, now leaving Georgia, going to Kentucky and getting his opportunity. I'll be curious to see how he fits in there. He's got all the upside in the world. And then Nico Iamaleava out of Tennessee, he oozes with talent and ability. We know in Josh Heupel's system, every quarterback has been very quarterback friendly to put up stats and a lot of production. So I think Tennessee is in for a big time period here now with Nico playing quarterback for them, able to kind of take off in Josh Heupel's system.
All right, there you go. Top 5 and some honorable mentions with our Brady Quinn. Brady certainly appreciate it. Taking a look at the odds to win the Heisman Trophy, we kind of gave you a top 4, but here's an expanded menu of some other long shots that includes honorable mention Connor Wegman, Avery Johnson coming in at 25-1. But as of right now, Dylan Gabriel in the Pacific Northwest out in Eugene with Carson Beck, your co-betting favorites at plus 750.
Tommy, where's
probably just off the board.
he's right there.